Alrighty, folks. I am back, and hopefully with a long-standing solution to all of this show's tech problems. Go ahead and bring up the camera now. There it is, there it is. And yes, you should be able to hear me more clearly, hopefully, than ever before. All I had to do was um, prevent access or deny access to the new camera I got's microphone because the camera that I got, its mic, um, was what was creating that echo background sound of my last few episodes. So with that gone, hopefully the show is as it should now be. And then yeah, I've got plenty of content, and so finally right where we need to be. We get a nice good look at Jack now that I've finally working camera, no thanks to Victus. And I'm gonna go ahead and also go live on TikTok too. Just gotta find it. Hey, and there we are, there we are. I'm live now on both TikTok and YouTube. Without further ado, we are ready to dive into the book. Principle 26. Acknowledge your positive past. Look back on my life like a good day's work. It is done and I am satisfied with it. That was Grandma Moses, American folk artist who lived 101 years. People in our culture remember their failures more than their successes. One reason for this is the leave them alone counts approach to parenting, teaching, and management that is so prevalent in our culture. When you were a young child, your parents left you alone when you were playing and being cooperative, and then pounced on you when you made too much noise, were a nuisance, or got into trouble. Probably received a perfunctory good job when you got A's, but got a huge lecture when you got C's or D's. God forbid, an F. In school, most of your teachers marked their answers you got wrong with an X rather than marking the ones you got right with a check mark or a star. In sports, you got yelled at when you dropped the football or the baseball. There was almost always more emotional intensity around your errors, mistakes, and failures than there was around your successes. Because the brain more easily remembers events that were accompanied by strong emotions, most people underestimate and underappreciate the number of successes they've had compared to the number of failures they've had. One of the ways to counteract this phenomenon is to consciously focus on and celebrate your successes. One of the exercises I do in my corporate seminars is to have the participants each share a success they have had in the past week. It's always amazing to see how difficult this is for so many people. Many people don't think they've had any successes. I easily tell you 10 ways messed up in the last 7 days, but have a much harder time telling you 10 victories they've had. That truth is that we all have many more victories than failures. It's just that we set the bar too high for what we call a success. A participant in the Goals Gaining Opportunities and Life Skills program I developed to help get people off of welfare in California actually asserted that he didn't have any successes. When I inquired about his accent, he told us that he had left Iran when the Shah was toppled in 1979. He had moved his whole family to Germany, where he'd learned German and become a car mechanic. More recently, he had immigrated his whole family to the United States, learned English, and was now in a program learning to be a welder. Didn't think he had any successes. When the group asked him what he thought a success was, he replied that it was owning a home in Beverly Hills and driving a Cadillac. In his mind, anything less than that was not an achievement. Slowly, with a little coaching, he began to see that he had many success experiences every single week. Simple things such as getting to work on time, getting into the goals program, learning to speak English, providing for his family, and buying his daughter her first bicycle were all his successes. The poker chip theory of self esteem and success. Why am I making such a big deal about acknowledging your past successes? The reason it is so important is because of its impact on your self esteem. Then imagine that you and I are playing a game of poker and you have 10 chips and I have 200 chips. Who do you think is going to play more conservatively in this game of poker? Yes, you are. You lose 2 bets of chips. 2 bets of 5 chips, you're out of the game. I can lose 5 chips 40 times before I'm out of the game. I'm going to take more risks because I can afford to take losses. Your level of self esteem works the same way. The more self esteem you have, the more risks you are willing to take. Research has shown over and over again that the more you acknowledge your past successes, the more confident you become in taking on and successfully accomplishing new ones. So far, 810,000 people have graduated from the Goals program, which has developed for the state of California to help people get off of welfare. Find more information at www.thesuccessprinciples.com/resources. You know that even if you fail, it won't destroy you because your self-esteem is high. And the more you risk, the more you win in life. The more shots you take, the more chances you have of scoring. Knowing that you've had success in the past will give you the self-confidence that you can have more success in the future. So let's look at some simple but powerful ways to build and maintain high levels of self-confidence and self-esteem. Begin with 9 major successes. Here's a simple way to begin an inventory of your major successes. Consider having your spouse or family do this exercise too. Start by dividing your life into 3 equal time periods. For example, if you're 45 years old, your 3 time periods would be from birth to age 15, 16 to 30 years, and 31 to 45 years. Then list 3 successes you've had for each time period. To get started, I've listed my own below. Verse 3rd, birth to age 23. Elected patrol leader in the Boy Scouts. 2. Caught a winning touchdown pass to win city championship game. 3. Graduated from Harvard University. Second, third, age 24 to 47. Earned my master's degree in education from the University of Massachusetts. 2. Published my first book. 3. Founded the New England Center for Personal and Organizational Development. Final third, age 47 to 70. Founded the Canfield Training Group. 2. Chicken Soup for the Soul hit #1 on the New York Times bestsellers list. 3. Achieved goal of having spoken professionally in all 50 states. Can you list 100 successes? Really convince yourself that you are a successful person who can continue to achieve great things. The next step of this exercise is to make a list of 100 successes that you've had in life, in your life. My experience is that most people do fine coming up with the first 30 or so. Then it becomes a little bit more difficult. Come up with 100, you're going to have to do, I'm going to have to list things like learning to ride a bicycle, singing a solo at church, getting your first summer job, first time you got hit in Little League, making a cheerleading squad, getting your driver's license, writing an article for your school newspaper, getting an A in Mr. Simon's history class, surviving basic training, learning to surf, winning a ribbon at the country fair, modifying your first car, getting married, having your first child, and leading a fundraising campaign for your child's school. These are all things you probably take for granted now. They all need to be acknowledged as successes you've had in life. If you are young, you may even need to resort to writing down things like past first grade, past second grade, past third grade. But that's okay. The goal is simply to get to 100. Create a victory log. Another powerful way to keep adding to that stack of poker chips is to keep a written record of your daily successes. It can be as simple as running a list in a spiral-bound notebook or a document on your computer, or it can be as elaborate as a leather-bound journal. By recalling and writing down your successes each day, you log them into your long-term memory, which enhances your self-esteem and builds your self-confidence. Later, if you need a boost of self-confidence, you can reread what you've written. Peter Thigpen, a former vice president at Levi Strauss & Company, kept such a victory log on his desk, and every time he had a victory or a win, he wrote it down. When he was about to do something scary, such as negotiate for a multi-million-dollar bank loan or make a speech to the board of directors, He would read his victory log to build up his self-confidence. His list included entries such as I opened up China as a market, I got my teenage son to clean up his room, and I got the board to approve the new expansion plan. When most people are about to embark on some frightening task, they have a tendency to focus on all the times they tried before and didn't succeed, which undermines their self-confidence and feeds their fear that they will fail again. Keeping and referring to your victory log keeps you focused on your successes instead. Start your own victory log as soon as possible. If you want, you can also embellish it like a scrapbook with photos, certificates, memos, and other reminders of your successes. Many of your victories are featured on the internet. For example, if you're an athlete, artist, author, or business person who appears in online news, photo galleries, interviews, or book reviews, you can make a digital scrapbook using the online tool called Pinterest. Pinterest lets you collect links or bookmarks to photos, quotes, and written content featured anywhere on the internet. Simply start an account at www.pinterest.com and begin pinning things you find online that talk about, portray, or visually capture your victories, such as news articles, blog posts, web pages, or photographs. Select and organize these pins on your Pinterest board, which is created and controlled by you. If you like, you can share the victory log with your friends and family, or with other Pinterest users who want to follow your board. If you want a business and want to use some of your victories for promotional or public relations purposes, simply share your entire Pinterest board or share a subset of accomplishments by collecting them into themes or topics. Display your success symbols. Researchers have discovered that what you see in your environment has a psychological impact on your moods, your attitudes, and your behavior. Your environment has a great deal of influence over you. Here's an even more important fact. You've almost all total control over your immediate environment. You get to choose what pictures are hung on your bedroom or office wall, what memorabilia gets taped to your refrigerator or locker door, and what mementos you place on your desk or in your cubicle at work. A valuable technique that will help build your self-esteem and motivate you to greater future success is the practice of surrounding yourself with awards, pictures, and other objects that remind you of your successes. These might include medals from your armed service days, a picture of your scoring the winning touchdown, a picture of you standing on the Great Wall of China, your wedding picture, a trophy, a framed copy of the poem you'd published in the local newspaper, a letter of thanks, your college diploma, or your Eagle Scout badge or Girl Scout Gold Award. Make a special place, a special shelf at the top of your dresser, the refrigerator door, a victory wall in a hallway you pass through every day. Fill it with your success symbols. Clean out that special drawer, those boxes in the closet. Your files, then frame, laminate, polish, and display those symbols of your success. You will see them every day. This will have a powerful effect on your subconscious mind. It will subtly program you to see yourself as a winner, someone who has a consistent success in life. It will also convey this message to others. It will instill confidence in you and in others for you. It's also a great thing to do for your children. Proudly display their success symbols as well. Papers, ribbons, artwork, photographs of them in their baseball uniform or playing the violin, photographs of them enjoying themselves, trophies, medals, and other awards. If you have children living at home, frame their best artwork and hang it on the walls of the kitchen, their rooms, and hallways in the house. When they see these framed and on the wall, it can be a major boost to their self-esteem. The mirror exercise. You are a living magnet. What you attract into your life is in harmony with your dominant thoughts. That was Brian Tracy, leading authority on the development of human potential and personal effectiveness. Just as you acknowledge your big successes, you need to acknowledge your small daily successes too. Mirror exercise is based on the principle that we all need acknowledgement. The most important acknowledgement is the acknowledgement you give yourself. The mirror exercise gives your inner child, which resides in your subconscious mind, positive strokes it needs to pursue further achievement. Helps any negative beliefs you have toward praise and accomplishment. Puts you in an achieving frame of mind. Do this exercise for a minimum of 3 months. After that, you can decide whether you want to continue. I know some very successful people who've been doing this for every night for years. Just before going to bed, stand in front of a mirror and appreciate yourself for all that you've accomplished during the day. Start with a few seconds of looking directly into the eyes of the person in the mirror, your mirror image looking back at you. Then address yourself by name and begin approaching yourself out loud for the following things. Appreciating yourself for the following things. Any achievements, business, financial, educational, personal, physical, spiritual, or emotional. Any personal disciplines you kept, dietary, exercise, reading, meditation, prayer. Any temptations that you did not give into, eating dessert, lying, watching too much TV, staying up too late, drinking too much. Maintain eye contact with yourself throughout the exercise. When you're finished appreciating yourself, Complete this exercise by continuing to look deep into your own eyes and saying, I love you. Then stand there for a few seconds to really feel the impact of the experience. As if you were the one in the mirror who just listened to all of this appreciation. The important thing during this last part is to not just turn away from the mirror, feeling embarrassed or thinking of yourself or the exercise as stupid or silly. Here's an example of what your exercise might sound like. Jack, I want to appreciate you for the following things today. First, I want to appreciate you for going to bed on time last night without staying up too late or watching too much. You got up bright and early this morning and had a really good conversation with Inga. And then you meditated for 20 minutes and worked out for 30 minutes before you took a shower. Eat a healthy, low fat, low carbohydrate breakfast. Got to work on time and led a very good staff meeting with your support team. You did a great job of helping everyone listen to everybody's feelings and ideas. And you were great at drawing out the quiet ones. Let's see. Oh, and then you ate a really healthy lunch, soup and salad, and you didn't have the dessert that was offered. You drank the 10 glasses of water that you committed to drinking every day. And then let's see, you finished editing the new Train the Trainer manual. You got a really good start on scheduling the summer management training program. Then you filled in your daily successes focus journal before you left for work. Oh, and you appreciated Veronica for solving the problems with the travel schedule. It was great to see how she just lit up. When you got home, you called Oren and talked with your grandson on Skype. That was really special. And now you're going to bed at a good time again. Not staying up all night surfing the internet. You were great today. And one more thing, Jack. I love you. Not unusual to have a number of reactions the first time you do this. You might feel silly, embarrassed, like crying, or actually begin crying, or just generally uncomfortable. Occasionally, people have even reported breaking out in hives, feeling hot and sweaty, or feeling a little lightheaded. These are natural and normal reactions. This is a very unfamiliar thing to be doing. We're not trained to acknowledge ourselves. In fact, we are mostly trained to do the opposite. Don't toot your own horn. In fact, uh, don't toot your own horn. Don't get a swelled head. Don't get a stuffed shirt. Pride is a sin. When you begin to act more positive and nurturing toward yourself, it is natural to have physical and emotional reactions as you release the old negative parental wounds, unrealistic expectations, and self judgments. If you experience any of these things, and not all people do, don't let these things stop you. They are only temporary and will pass after a few days of doing this exercise. When I first began to do this exercise after just 40 days, I noticed that all my negative internal self talk had totally vanished, crowded out by the daily positive focus of the mere exercise. I used to berate myself for things like misplacing my car keys or my glasses. That critical voice just simply disappeared. The same kind of thing can happen for you, but only if you take the time to actually do this exercise. A note to remember: if you find yourself lying in bed realizing that you haven't done your exercise yet, get out of bed and do it. Looking at yourself in the mirror is a critical part of the exercise. And one last bit of advice: be sure to let your spouse, children, roommate, or parents know in advance that you'll be doing this exercise each evening for the next 3 months or more. You don't want them to walk in on you and think you've lost your mind. In fact, you are powerfully retraining your mind. Focus on the positive while building up your stack of poker chips. Reward your inner child. Inside all of us, there are 3 distinct and totally separate ego states that work in concert to make up our unique personality. We have a parent-like ego, an adult ego, and a childlike ego who act much the same way that parents, adults, and children do in real life. Your adult ego state is the rational part of yourself. It gathers data and makes logical decisions devoid of emotion. It plans your schedule, balances your checkbook, figures out your taxes, and determines when to rotate your tires. Your parent-like ego tells you to tie your shoes, brush your teeth, eat your vegetables, do your homework, exercise, meet your deadlines, and finish your projects. It has 2 sides to it. The negative side shows up as your inner critic, part that judges you when you don't live up to its standards. The positive side shows up as the nurturing part of yourself that makes sure you're protected, taken care of, and provided for. It is also the part that validates, appreciates, and acknowledges you for doing a good job. Your childlike ego, on the other hand, does what all children do. It whines, begs for attention, craves hugs, and acts out when it doesn't get its needs met. As we go through life, it is almost as if we have a 3-year-old holding on to us who's constantly asking, why are we sitting at this desk? Why aren't we having more fun? Why am I still up at 3 in the morning? Why am I reading this boring report? Parent of this inner child, one of your most important tasks is to engage it and reward it for behaving while you get your work done. If you had a 3-year-old in real life, you might say, Mommy has to finish this proposal in the next 20 minutes. After Mommy's done, we'll go for ice cream or play a video game. Your real life 3-year-old would probably answer, okay, I'll be good because I know I'm going to get something good at the end of it. Not surprisingly, your inner child is no different. When you ask it to be still, let you finish your work, stay up late, and so on, it will behave as long as it knows there's a reward at the end for behaving. At some point, it needs to know it will get to read a novel, go to the movies, play with a friend, listen to music, go dancing, let loose, eat out, get a new toy, or take a vacation. A big part of creating more success in your life is rewarding yourself when you succeed. In reality, rewarding yourself for your successes keeps your inner child happy and compliant the next time it must behave while you work hard. It knows it can trust you to eventually deliver on your promises. If you don't, just like a real child, it will start to sabotage your efforts by doing things like getting sick, having accidents, or making mistakes that cost you a promotion or even your job, so that you're forced to take some time off. That will only take you further away from the success that you want to create. Sense of completion. Another reason to celebrate your successes is that you don't feel complete until you've been acknowledged. It gives you a sense of accomplishment and recognition. If you spend weeks producing a report and your boss doesn't acknowledge it, you're left feeling incomplete. You send someone a gift and they don't acknowledge receiving it, you end up with this sense of incompletion. There's this little incomplete taking up space inside your mind. Your mind needs to complete the cycle, thus freeing up space that would be better focusing on your goals. Of course, even more important than just achieving a state of completion, simple, enjoyable act of acknowledging and rewarding our successes causes your subconscious mind to say, hey, succeeding is cool. Every time we produce a success, we get to do something fun. Jack will buy us something we want or take us someplace neat. Let's have one of these successes so Jack will take us out to play more. Rewarding yourself for your wins powerfully reinforces your subconscious mind's desire to want to work harder for you. Just basic human nature. Celebrate and tout your victories. So say Jack in Principle 26. In Principle 27, next time, we will find ourselves in the chapter Keep Your Eye on the Prize. That will be Principle 27. All right, I thank you so much for watching today's edition of the Success Principles. Please remember to support the show, likes, comments, shares, subscriptions, donations, Venmo Stormer Show. This show, as I have said it time and time again, needs all the help and support that it can get. I need all the Storm Champions I can handle, all the Storm Champions I can muster. And then, yes, I might also make a success list like Jack has recommended in this chapter. I have many successes I could be proud of. I graduated college twice already. When I graduated high school, I had 2 diplomas. I'm probably going to be getting a second list of certifications soon. I mean, I have a lot I could be proud of for sure. I don't know if I would necessarily go around bragging all the time, but it helps to protect my sense of self-confidence, keep me cool, confident, and composed. Well, maybe it's not all that bad. Okay. Yes, and thank you for any and all support that this show should receive, be it a like, a comment, a share, subscription, a donation. A donation, Venmo Stormer Show. If you're on YouTube, I'd appreciate the subscription. If you're on TikTok, I appreciate the follow. Sub on YouTube, the follow on TikTok. Yes, and thank you so much. Thank you very much. If you do. Sleep tight, have a good night. I've been your host, Stormer Show. Signing out and signing off. I'll be back right after this with more Horizon Zero Dawn on YouTube, so feel free to jump over there and catch my daily or my current edition of that series, the Horizon Zero Dawn series. Thank you so much for watching, folks.